Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Fiction. My name is Melanie McNair. I'm the Director of Public Programming here. How many of you are here for the first time tonight? Oh my gosh, so many of you. Well, welcome. The Center for Fiction is the only literary nonprofit that focuses on the creation and enjoyment of fiction. And we do public events like this one, reading groups, writing workshops, our first novel prize, and our Emerging Writers Fellowship. And if you are or know a New York City-based fiction writer who has yet to publish a book, applications are now open for the fellowship until May 31st. Fellows receive money, a space to work upstairs, this beautiful writing studio, editorial mentorship, and monthly dinners with publishing professionals. So please spread the word and follow us on social and become a member to support our work and buy things from us and just come back and see us all the time. Welcome to those of you who are joining us via the live stream as well. After the talk, we will have a brief Q&A, and if you're here, please raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone to you so that the folks on the live stream can hear you as well. And for those of you on YouTube, you may add your question to the chat and we'll read one of those before we break for the night. Tonight is part of our Storyteller Arts series, celebrating writers whose work spans from the page to the performing arts. Since we moved to the Cultural District in Brooklyn in 2019, we've been thrilled to partner with Theater Communication Group Books to bring many of the best working playwrights to our stage and a lot of really fantastic actors too. It is my pleasure to introduce their co-publisher, Kathy Sova.
Thank you so much for coming today. I'm Kathy Sova, co-publisher and editor of TCG Books. I just want to say a little bit about Theater Communications Group, TCG, because we really do amazing work, and I'm really very proud to have been working there for nearly 30 years. I can't cover all of it because I am so excited to turn over the stage to Quiara. Quiara, Alegría, Hudes, and 5 amazing performers, nearly all of the original cast from the signature theater production of my broken language, Theater John. This is a play based on Quiara's amazing memoir of the same name. Without the theater, they don't use the Theater John on the memoir. But TCG is the national organization for the theater field with 700 member theaters, 7,000 individual members, and through our many programs, we do conferences, local and federal advocacy. We publish Art Search, the Arts Job Bulletin. We serve as the U.S. representative of the International Theater Institute. We do grant making. We publish American Theater Magazine. We're very happy to say our summer edition issue will include the Pulitzer Prize-winning Primary Trust by Ebony Booth. That will be out next month. And then we have our books program. And with all of these programs, we reach more than 1 million theater practitioners and theater lovers every year. A little bit more about books. We commit to playwrights, not a particular play. Say something that's a hit, we just go after and grab that. So when we form a partnership with a playwright, our intention is to commit to their life's work and keep their work in print forever. Because of this model, we've had the pleasure and honor to work with Tony Kushner, Susan Lloyd Parks, David Henry Hwang, Lynn Nottage, and Paula Vogel, among many others, over more than 3 decades. We have published 10 books for Tony, 7 for Lynn, 9 for Susan Laurie, and we continually add new writers such as Shaina Taub, for whom we will be publishing Suff soon, Brandon Jacobs-Jenkins, Alicia Harris, Michael R. Jackson, Taylor Mack, and many others. My Broken Language is our 6th book for Quiara. We started publishing her work in 2012 with Water by the Spoonful, which was a Pulitzer Prize-winning play in her, at the time called her Eliot Trilogy. My Broken Language is a memoir turned play, and it beautifully highlights a handful of key life moments that mark changes in Quiara's sense of self and her place in the world. Storytelling mixed with song, dance, and ritual make this work a great celebration of life and mark one's self-discovery as an artist on a deep and meaningful journey. In Lin-Manuel Miranda's words, Quiara's collaborator on In the Heights, Quiara's in touch with spirits, This is a woman who went into playwriting because she sensed that her family stories, those in Puerto Rico, those in Philadelphia, would fade if she did not give them language. So before we start the actual program with Quiara and these beautiful artists, Yadira, Correa, Yani, Marin, Samora, Perdida, and Marilyn, Torres, I must pay thanks first to Center for Fiction for providing such a fantastic home and partnership for TCG. This will be our 13th and I think luckiest event together. I want to thank Aaron Salvi, my co-publisher, our editors, Emma and Vero. Everyone at TCG provides a lot of support for our events. Andy, Rachel, Corinna, and many more. And thank you, Terry Nemeth, for creating this wonderful book program. I'm honored and proud to support it every day. Much thanks to the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs and Mellon Foundation for their incredible generosity. And now for the celebration in Quiara and her family's hands. That is exactly what this group feels like. I just felt lucky to be in an email chain as like an appendage to their loving conversations really for the last few weeks or so. It's just been uplifting for me. So I think we will all experience ritual and celebration like no other. So thank you.
My Broken Language, North Philly, 1988. I am 10 years old.
If you went a shopping spree and loaded your cart full of cousins, that was Abuela's house. They streamed in and out, staying for 5 minutes or 2 months or 18 years. They were from Lehigh Ave, South Jersey, Florida, and Puerto Rico. There was always a new one I'd never met, plus the daily rotation of usual suspects. Cousinhood in my big-ass family was a swim with the sharks wonderland. When Cuca invited me to Six Flags with the big cousins, I was Cinderella being invited to the ball. These weren't the rugrats of the family, my usual crew. 5 to 10 years my elder, my big cousins were gods on Mount Olympus, meriting study, mythology, and fear. Cuca, Tico, Flor, and Nucci.
Proper Catholic, wait until marriage, Cuca.
Tico, whose eyelashes were freakishly blonde for El Barrio. Tico, who would babysit Kiki in Raider Mom's closet, modeling gowns, skirt suits, and leotards. The clothes were always put away before the grown-ups got home.
Flor, the lone Perez, who could pull Kiki onto the dance floor. Come on, baila conmigo. Kiki, think of dancing like a joke, and shaking your ass is the punchline.
Nucci, in white bike shorts, white sports bra, white hoop earrings, rainbow eleques, las siete potencias, the 7 Lukumi orishas, orbited her neck in a protective oval. Nucci, whose towering majesty and righteous thighs were a dare. Try not to stare. Try not to gulp. Try not to feel a wee bit violated.
Cuca, Tico, Flor, and Nucci. Saying their names filled me with awe. They had babies and tats. I had blackheads and wedgies. They had curves and moves. I had puberty boobs called nippleitis. They had acrylic tips in neon colors. I had piano lessons and nubby nails. They spoke Spanish like Greg Louganis dove, twisting, flipping, explosive, and laughed with the magnitude of a mushroom cloud. Our trip was courtesy of Coca-Cola. That summer they were running a promotion. Collect a bunch of cans, get a half-price ticket to Six Flags in New Jersey. We piled in a double-wide loopty with 4 different sized tires and 0 operational seatbelts, soda cans clattering in the trunk. Though it cost more, we gassed up in Philly because there was duct tape where a fuel cap ought to go, and full-service Jersey didn't mess with that crap. Every time we hit a bump, I could hear whoosh, half-melted ice swish in the cooler as Bodega Ham and Wonder Bread took a swim. I got the hump in the back. My thighs stuck to the pleather seat and pressed up against Flor's warm, bare legs. Cuca's shoulder pushed sweatily into mine. Zooming north on the turnpike, my cousins blasted La Mega and yelled Spanish lyrics at passing cars. There was a thick parade of trucks thundering along the highway.
Yank your fist like this, Kiki.
An 18-wheeler pulled up alongside us, rattling the hoopty with its gravity. Flor pinched my thigh.
Go ahead, Kiki. Don't be afraid.
Oh, she had coined the nickname, coronating me Kiki when I was still in Pampers. The childish title always sounded best in her mouth. But now, all my big cousins shouted, Kiki! 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 Finally, the cab was level with the back window. The driver's eyes flicked in our direction, and I seized the moment, leaning into the cushion of Cuca's shoulder so I was visible to the outside world, balling my right fist and yanking an invisible air horn.
Okay, Kiki!
Now, Tico told scatological jokes that were Egyptian to me. The X-rated ones she told in Spanish, because my Spanish sucked, first generation, second generation. But even the English punchlines flew over my head. I was certain they entailed sex and poop, but neither word was used, nor any synonyms I knew. Still, I laughed when they did. Nucci giggled through her missing teeth, and Cuca cracked up, then slapped Tico's shoulder hard because she was corrupting her.
And Flor had news about the new roller coaster, the Medusa.
Oh, Six Flags had been running ads all summer long, but Flor knew some folks who actually braved it. They returned not just with apocryphal tales of steep drops and breakneck turns, but with actual factual shitted shorts.
I hope y'all brought clean drawers.
Car sickness was common for me, but today was different. My thigh started to sweat where it touched floors, and my guts felt like stew. AC was not one of the car's few features. By the time we pulled into the Six Flags lot, I couldn't unhunch.
Look, Kiki, it's a long walk to the ticket booth. By the time you get there, the fresh air will make you feel better.
But extracting myself from the back seat seemed Herculean.
Should we take you home?
It's just car sickness. It wears off eventually.
Let me give you a piggyback.
But at 10 years old, I was far too heavy for that. Plus, my body was limp with nausea.
Should we call Titi Virginia? Kiki, you want us to talk to your mom?
No, I just want to take a nap. Just please go without me.
Okay.
I curled, fetal in the back, eyes throbbing shut, my hair wet spaghetti against the hot pleather, the car now my own personal hell, as all four doors slammed. Later, half lulled from a knockout slumber, I was vaguely aware of my cousins' voices coming through open windows. They were eating sandwiches on the trunk, spreading mayo on slices.
Who needs mustard?
Flor, pass me an orange soda.
Hey, yo, these pork rinds be poppin'.
Apparently, hours had passed. They compared notes on which roller coasters had the shortest lines, which carnival games gave the most tickets.
Wake up, Kiki. You feeling better? Want to join us?
I muttered no from the depths of hell, and they headed off again. Again, I fell into the blackness of sleep. As we drove home, I whimpered between stomach pangs. A pathetic woozy chorus, sorry, I ruined the day. I was sure it was the last invitation they'd ever extend.
No, bendito, Kiki. We felt so bad leaving you like that.
Flor ordered everyone to roll down the windows, fresh air being good for car sickness, and she tapped my head gently, guiding it to her warm shoulder. During the ride south, they were subdued, wiped out and whiplashed after all those rides, but also shielding me from the fun I'd missed. They'd recount the adventures another time. Intimidated as I had been by their earlier adult humor, their compassion came at me in surprising unison. They put on La Mega and listened in silence. By exit 5, I missed the goodbyes as Flor and Nucci and Tico were deposited onto various North Philly corners. When we rolled up to American Street, it was just me and Cuca. I crawled straight for Abuela's bathroom. I hadn't gone all day. My guts were throbbing, my back hunched and radiating heat. Though I could uncurl myself enough to unbutton my shorts, pulling them to my ankles felt like Armageddon. At which point I saw my panties. Red, brown, and moist. Cuca!
Estás enferma, Kiki.
Is this what a period looks like? Suspended at my ankles, my panties made a horrible hammock. She disappeared down the hall, and I heard Abuela's bureau drawers open and shut. Cuca returned with clean, fresh parachute panties.
Oh my God! Kiki's a woman now. Kiki's a woman now.
She knew the precise shower temperature to ease the abdominal pressure. Clean and refreshed after, I pulled on Abuela's bargain bin panties, which were fit for a queen. Cuca brought me 2 bears and a cup of room temperature water, then skipped across traffic to buy a box of maxi pads. Don't tell the bodega man. The always were thick as a Bible and rough as a brown paper bag, 2 features that struck me as the height of sophistication. Every 15 minutes, I changed them with vigor and industry. 1 drop of blood, time for a new one.
You only need to change them every couple hours.
But won't the blood like dirty me?
Relax. A little blood never hurt anybody.
For the balance of the evening, North Philly was an oasis. The Wheel of Fortune marathon, my tranquil stomach, a strong night breeze making the screen door slam over and over. Was I a big cousin now? Was I finally one of them? Eventually I dozed off as Vanna White paced with a calm, regal smile.
Asterisk. In a matter of years, Flor, with a laugh warm as September sun, would be plucked from sanity and blown to chaos, a dandelion seed on the devil's breeze. Drugs, Mom would say. Before that shit came to El Barrio, Mom would sigh, we were just another poor neighborhood trying to make do. But then came the overnight sensation.
Asterisk. Soon, Tico, the prankster, Tico, the party on legs, stopped visiting abuelas. One day, Tico wasn't there. Next day, the same thing. No word, no note, no explanation. When the test said positive, Tico peaced out. She joined a pilgrimage of young people who found in New York a place to live shame-free.
Asterisk. A few years after that, addiction would render Nucci skeletal. She would become a walking dagger. But for now, the spandex was tight and right.
West Philly, 1995. I'm almost 18.
The water ran in the bathtub, fogging up the mirrors, so Nucci and I had to talk loud above the noise. It was unfamiliar, this chemical assault. I had never dyed hair before. Eyes tearing, nostrils dripping, and yet this toxic process was incongruously a platform for intimacy. I squirted goop onto Nucci's scalp and swirled it in with my fingertips.
Don't forget my hairline in the back.
The nape of her neck was soft. I pressed the gel in tenderly, a vulnerable place to massage a woman, at the small boneless trough between skull and neck bone. My fingers swirled there for a long moment.
Hey, don't forget my forehead and temples.
Through thin rubber gloves, I felt my cousin's skin, its warm, elastic tenderness. I'm done. What's step 3?
The shower cap. Now we wait for me to be a blonde.
How long? Check the instructions while I rinse off.
Yo, how much does it say?
You tell me.
I thought you knew, Kiki. I can't read.
Can't what?
Read, girl. I can't read.
But didn't you graduate high school? Even as it left my lips, the question felt unkind. What right did I have to demand her credentials? And yet, I needed to know the score. This was seriously fucked. It didn't seem possible.
They just passed you. I just stood in the back.
45 minutes. So, in my magnet school, commas and E.E. Cummings poems were debated. In her zone school, invisibility was lauded as life skill. My loudmouth cousin shrank herself to a crumb, and the school rewarded her compliance with the prize of a diploma. I wanted to break free from my living room, to run screaming through the streets of Philly, past the Monumental Art Museum, past glistening brownstones, past the white-gloved doorman of Rittenhouse Square, all the way to the Free Library of Philadelphia, to hop up the stairs 2 at a time and into the stacks and ask James Baldwin or Pablo Neruda, "My cousin can't read and I can, what do I do?" Except that now, praying in the temple of my literary saints was revealed as its own sick privilege.
Nucci kneeled at the bathtub and bent over its edge, her wet hair like tentacles on the tub floor.
When was the last time I saw her dance? Wow. Years had passed since I'd spied her hips in motion. Years of grief had been rent upon her. First a father, then a little brother, then a younger sister. Obituaries, Nucci would never read. She was instead her brethren's living flesh and blood eulogy.
Did it stain my skin? Cheap dye does that sometimes.
Nope, no stains.
Hey, you go knock them dead at college. I hope they not conceited and shit.
See you Thanksgiving? Every book a horizon. A world I had no prior access to. An eye-opening. Books from Mrs. Schleppian's class. Books from Giovanni's room. Borders and the Free Library of Philadelphia. Books from Mom's favorite botanica. Books purchased by skipping meals for lunch money and walking home to save SEPTA fare. Kiki became 2 readers, split down the middle as if by an axe.
There was real Kiki who read the book, same as ever.
And there was What If Geeky, who would never unearth the revelations in its pages. Each book became its presence and absence, its voice and silence.
Who would I be without Ralph Ellison?
Mm-hmm. Who would I be without Beloved on the L, North Philly zooming below?
Who would I be without the house on Mango Street?
Those books were definitive experiences. Their impact on me felt unquantifiable yet real as Abuela's palm cup and dried rice. They were recipes for my life's inner feasts.
Books on the southbound 5 to the eastbound 42 on piano lesson Tuesday.
On the northbound Broad Street line, heading to Central.
Books on the 49th in Baltimore during trolley delay.
Or on an Independence Hall bench in the Saturday morning hush.
Jose Rivera.
Flannery O'Connor.
For colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough.
The Norton Anthology of Western Literature.
The Way of the Orisha.
Shakespeare.
Ginsburg.
Miranda Santiago.
A Coney Island of the mind.
Juan dar April with his shortest thought. The Drocht of Marsha perse to the road.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Each one a stone on my path, guiding me one step further from Nucci's reality. And yet, as I read with double vision, thinking of her often, each book had the strange effect of binding me to her.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. So let me just introduce who you just heard. So we have Yadira Correa. She was actually our understudy in the production, so she memorized all 5 roles and knew the blocking for all 5 roles and got to go on a few times. It was an incredible undertaking that she joined us in. We have Marilyn Torres. Yanira Marin. AKA Yani, AKA Yadi, and Samora la Perdida. For those who came hoping to see Zabryna Guevara, she is filming in Canada right now. I don't know what she's filming. And for those who came hoping to see Daphne, we were all hoping to give her a hug. She got a flat tire on exit 17 about an hour and a half ago, so she was en route. So the trickster, came to play. Did Kathy Sova say it was the 13th TCG event? And it's the 13th today, too, so proceed with caution. So they asked if I would do like a moderated conversation after, but this felt special for us. Directing this production, which was my first time directing, was a very special, not just moment for me, but kind of end cap for, I think, a 20-year body of work that I created. So I thought, rather than do a more straightforward, moderated discussion, that I would celebrate this moment and this publication with a ceremony that we could all participate in, whoever's comfortable. It's not mandatory. Are you guys good hanging on stage for it? Okay. And if it's possible to bring up the house lights a little bit, since we're in ceremony, it would be nice to see a little bit more clearly who I'm talking to. Okay, so, oh yes. The reason that I decided to adapt the memoir into a play was because so much of it was about the body. And when I read the audio book, I could feel that. I could feel their bodies. A lot of time has passed since these memories, since I was 10 years old, and then 18 years old for the last scene you heard. And the bodies have evolved, and some have gone on a path of wellness, and some have not. And so I was thinking about the bodies, and I just thought, how great would it be to embody these words and employ people, which is my favorite thing to do as a playwright. And so that also leads to the impulse to kind of do ceremony with the bodies in this space, and I think really kind of now end cap that 20 years of writing that I did. And that 20 years I'm referring to is really plays written out of my family's experience and feeling myself going in different directions now. I admit the impulse for this is a little selfish. I've been feeling, total honesty, quite decimated lately, and I suspect I'm not the only one on planet Earth who feels that way. Feeling like the land after a hurricane just ripped to shreds and stripped bare. So what do we do after the Earth's devastation? We plant seeds, and we tend them as best we can, and we just hope that some will take root. So tonight, I'd like to sow seeds in this circle of strangers and neighbors. Hopefully something will take root. I'll be using elements of 3 traditions that I personally inherit. The first is Lukumi. You heard Las Siete Potencias mentioned here. So this is, the origins of Lukumi are in Yorubaland, Nigeria. Traveled to the New World and were syncretized with Spanish Catholic saints in Cuba and environs. Also elements of Taino indigenous plant science, and finally elements of Quakerism. Okay, and the idea for this ceremony begins with a book I read that was not mentioned in this book path, but it's a book I read while researching My Broken Language by Piri Tomás, Down These Mean Streets. It's an early and very important diasporican memoir. For those unfamiliar, diasporicans are those of us with roots in Puerto Rico, yet not from there precisely, because we were born or raised elsewhere. It's an in-between existence. As Jorge Drexler says, vamos con el polen en el viento. We are pollen on the wind. Anyway, Piri Tomas's memoir, it's the 1950s. Piri is a young black Nuyorican getting into lots of trouble. He struggles with who he is in a racist high school. He feels he doesn't fit anywhere. He struggles with the colorism of his own family because he's got the darkest skin amongst his siblings and his father never lets him forget it. So Piri starts thieving, brawling, dealing, I don't exactly remember. There may be some assaults too, gun possession possibly. I do remember the culmination is the robbery gone awry. Anyway, he gets arrested. He ends up in prison, bored out of his mind, and he begins to read. He even reads the dictionary. He reads philosophy, psychology, and this is not a habit he's had prior to imprisonment. So this sort of self-awareness blossoms even as he's lost his physical freedom. Of his reading, he says, quote, I began to dig what was inside of me. I began to dig what was inside of me. This use of the word dig, I circled it, I highlighted it. Dig as in understand. Dig as in excavate, unearth. Dig as in behold, regard, respect. You dig? Of his self-awareness prior to this reading, he writes, quote, I didn't know myself outside of the fact that I ate when I was hungry, slept when sleepy, and got laid when horny. But then the books. Here's the whole passage. Quote, learning made me painfully aware of life and me. I began to dig what was inside of me. What had I been? How would I become that way? What could I be? How could I make it? I got hold of some books on psychology. Man, did we scuffle. I copped a dictionary to look up the words I didn't know, and then I had to look up the words explaining the original words. But if I had to bop against the big words, I decided, well, I had heart, end quote. A few paragraphs later, he senses the challenge ahead, the ongoing nature of the investigative work. He says, quote, it's not going to be an easy thing to dig me, he's thinking to himself. So tonight, let's dig. I brought these two plants. Also, between them is a set element from the production, which was designed by Arnulfo Maldonado, who I think is in the house tonight. We also have some people in the audience who helped on this path of production, of publication, of original memoir publication, so thank you to everyone who's been part of this journey. Okay, so she is a yerba bruja, or we also call her siempre viva. Yerba bruja means witch's herb. Siempre viva means live forever. And she's a succulent. She's found all over the Caribbean, in Africa, in parts of Asia. I heard also when I was doing research today to double check, because I was like, where in Africa? And the answer was Madagascar, also Australia, apparently. And she's considered an invasive species in Hawaii. Okay, so botanically, her energy is aligned with Obatala, which is the Orisha who guards our Ori. And Ori is our highest self, which is located here. So how did this Siempre Viva get to the Center for Fiction in Brooklyn? She originates in my family's farm in Coamo, Puerto Rico. About 8 years ago, she was sent to Philadelphia in a box. My mom sent herself the plant because it wouldn't go past customs. They like the USDA checks that stuff at the airport. So her roots were wrapped in wet paper towels and plastic to retain her moisture, and her leaves were protected in newspaper. So the mother plant of these two lives in my mom's yard in Philly. Her clippings have birthed many offspring, many pottings, and those have traveled to various homes and into various hands. She doesn't need seeds to replicate, though she does produce them. If you look close, which you'll get a chance to do soon, you'll see tiny roots reaching out from her stems and joints. Little curlers, little fuzzy, it looks like little fuzz, but they're actually root sprouts. So her roots are below the dirt, but also airborne. she'll grab the dirt in any way possible. And if you remove a leaf and lay it flat on some dirt, which I think I'm going to have to do tonight because I think we might use her. I think we might complete her tonight. So I'll have to take a leaf home and put it on some soil, and actually new shoots will come up from her, and she'll start to grow from the leaf. So she excels at continuation. Okay, so the mother plant lives in West Philly, but even the mother has a mother. So in Coamo, Puerto Rico, the mother's mother grew wild and in abundance. I haven't been to Coamo in quite some time, so I don't know how the Siempre Viva is doing there. So she covered the earth down the sloping hillside that steeply descended to a river below, where a charca, a water hole, collected. This whole place looks magical and healing. I have swum in the charca, and the water feels very powerful. If you imagine it, imagine a lot of trees. This part of the farm is not exposed, but it's like a jungle. It's very wet, and scorpions live in the wild there. So why have I brought her here to join us tonight? Because she is medicine, and in particular, she is a filter. So what the yerba bruja does is trap the spiritual and energetic gunk so your personal antenna can have less interference. So this helps us with discernment and clarity. Also, separately, scientifically, she's indicated for various uses like kidney stones and headache, and apparently there's trials going on about cancer-fighting properties. So at this point, if you want to partake in the ceremony, I would like to invite you all to come up, and we're going to take a leaf. Everyone can have one leaf. So we're going to take a leaf from her. There's a few I noticed that are, you might see some down here that are a little cracked. Don't take one of the crackled ones. Take a leaf that's fresh. Most of them are. Take your leaf, and then return to your seat, and then we'll take it from there. So, and like I said, don't be shy about like, oh, are we harming her? Are we being too greedy? She has survived a lot, and I was at my mom's yesterday in West Philly, and there's like a lot of plantings from her. And I cleared this with my mom. She was like, no, it's not harmful. So please come, and ladies too, if you want to partake. So yeah, you can just break off. If you watch up here, you might want to hold her stem, and you can just kind of pull off the leaf, okay? And then you can return to your seat. Either. We're gonna need both of them. But I'm gonna. Yes. Don't step on something. Thank you for coming. Long time no see.
This is incredible. I'm so glad.
I should have done the scream. I do it sometimes.
Next time.
Okay. You know what? Why don't I move this one over here so we can get like 2 lines going? So just. If you're chilling at your seat and you got your leaf, you could just check her out. You know, just like feel her, get a vibe. No idea. Oh, this day and age, you'll probably get one from Amazon.
You're in a
Oh,
photo.
we were talking, are you?
Yeah, you're in a photo.
We were literally just talking about it.
Yeah.
Because there's a photo.
I didn't know what this audience setup was going to look like, so I really didn't expect it to have this communion layout. But we're being syncretic here, so. No, not on top. You just lay it on, plop it on it like a carpet. But what we're gonna do with these tonight, it might not, yeah. So you might just wanna take another one before you go. Because we're gonna do stuff with this. Yeah. Okay. So people have their leaves. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start. We're gonna place the leaf on our skin. And you can put it where you need it the most, and you can make this choice intuitively. But Yasmani, come and take a leaf. Though it's optional, you don't have to do this, it's up to you. So, okay, I'll give you a few options here. Option one is you can put it over your heart, and your bra will keep it in place. I think I'll do that. And that placement is good for relationships and love. Option two, and it's okay, like you can shift it around, it's fine. If you hear another option you like better. You can also put it on your head beneath your hat. That placement is for thought and discernment, for Ori, which I mentioned is one's highest self. Also, I've never done this before, but my mom told me this yesterday. You can put it on your belly over your belly button. And the band in your pants or your underwear can hold it in place there. I hope that you wore your granny panties because they would be the most practical cut for this. So that placement is for more like daily tasks if you're overwhelmed by work or struggling to manage your time or something like that. Okay, if you feel that it's irritating your skin, just take it out, it's okay. I've never heard of that happening, but I just want to let you know that. Don't feel like, oh my God, I've got the itchies. And she shouldn't stain your clothes, but if she does, you know she's worked extra hard for you. All right, so sometimes my mom says to me, I know you don't believe any of this. So I invite your inner skeptics to join this moment with us and your curious inner children too. Okay, so there is a passage in My Broken Language, the memoir, that reads, quote, the Perez women had divorced Mother Nature. Abuela's gandules harvests, over. Mom's circle of sage, dead. My horse farm woods, gone. Ripped and rent from all soil, we who had once been earth women were now North Philly. Treeless rubble, tire-strewn and derelict. But wait, hadn't one plot of land persisted, migrated all this way with us? One human-sized patch of earth, our bodies. So if you feel comfortable, you could close your eyes during this part. So we are here in Brooklyn. There is a lot of concrete around us. We are living urban lives at present. I don't know all of the origins represented here. I don't know where you all come from, but I'd like you to envision your body as a plot of soil from the land of your origins. Could be your distant origins, your ancient origins, or your recent and closer origins, perhaps. Maybe the forest where you spent your childhood, maybe the beach where your ancestors bathed their feet. Imagine your body as a roving wilderness preserve, a time-traveling plot of land. Can you see your skin as a nomadic, migrating topsoil, as an ever-relocating place to set up camp, this garden bed tended to and cultivated by generations above you? Can you imagine your organs, joints, bones as a place where birds drop seeds? Still arable, still sowable, a movable feast, a movable forest, I meant to say, a movable farm, preparing for the feast, a movable cultivation. Allow the sun to love on you. Allow the birds and animals to shit on you, because even if it stinks, seeds are inside it. Allow the rain to drench you. Be greedy. Receive these offerings. You have to be thankful. And now, as we remain with our eyes closed, we'll ask the Siempre Viva to do a job. We'll give it a command. So this can be a wish. Personally, I always prefer an intention or a thought. I'll do mine out loud. So I'm praying for the path of Arden Dye Richard's health. I'm acknowledging our new ancestor, Elena Greiman. Obatala, help the Siempre Viva leaf clear out some unhelpful emotional stubbornness and self-pity challenges and obstacles so that I can better tend this plot of land I have been entrusted. Specifically, help me see and cultivate a path to health, even if incremental, even small steps, for my loved one who I'll name inside my head right now, and for myself as this person's caretaker. Now, in your head, please give the Siempre Viva a job to do. You can give her your command. And finally, I'll ask all these Siempre Viva leaves working in concert just in this shared space at this particular moment to magnify these thoughts because of our proximity. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So we've begun to dig what's inside us. Some housekeeping instructions. You can thank her and remove her right now. You can thank her and dispose of her on your way out. You can keep her with you until bed tonight. And if you choose to kind of keep her around, the wish isn't like a closed session. You can have your thoughts return there as new intentions, reveal themselves in your mind, or as little offshoots happen in your mind. The last time I gave her to a friend, which was some time ago, she forgot and fell asleep and slept with it on her breast all night. So, and she said it didn't irritate her skin or anything. So, okay, so I think what we'll do is end Quaker style, which is just shaking the hands of those sitting near you and say hi or offer peace, and then we'll be done. And I hope you all buy books. Thank you. The cafe is open and the books are for sale, so please stay and chat. And the books are signed, so.